Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year's first live stream. Your boy is back. Your boy is back. First and foremost, let me check all of the streams, make sure we're good, make sure we are to go. First, let's check LinkedIn real quick. Make sure we're good on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, good morning, good morning, good morning. To go. All right, LinkedIn, we're good to go. All right, let's check. First, let's check LinkedIn real quick. Facebook, what's happening? Facebook, what's happening? Beautiful people on Facebook, beautiful people that. Okay, just found out. All right. Facebook, what's happening? Facebook, checking. You guys already see what we're doing here. We are countdown. I had a lot of blessings, a lot of great things that went down this past 2004. So, got to do an episode recapping it the best I can. Let's see if we good.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money until you get it done.
All right. Let's get through this ad.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money.
It's funny hearing it because all right, let's go, folks. Let's go. Let's get right into it. Got a lot to get into today. First live stream, first episode, tackling turnover with teamwork, first episode of the new 2025. Happy New Year to you folks. If you guys, it's the first time tuning in, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Aswan Crookshank, former Division I college football player and current 5-time published author and educator. And what I've created with this brand, what the whole Move Swiftly framework is all about. It's about taking the lessons, the teamwork lessons that I learned on the football field, whether it's a player, scout, or coach, and applying them to businesses. So you as a business owner have a framework, have a way of having a cohesive team, utilizing the lessons to build cohesive teams that are very motivated to do the work. I said do the work, not the job, but very motivated to do the work that you create. And that's what I teach. That's what I coach. That's what I help my clients do. So before we get into today's topic, let me get through some announcements. First and foremost, West Palm Beach, we are back this weekend, baby. We're back this weekend. Free boxing lessons every 2 weeks. If you are interested, if you are in the West Palm Beach area and you are interested in free boxing lessons, you see that correctly, you're reading that correctly, just hit the QR code right there on that screen and we will get you all set up and I'll send you all the details. Next thing, business owners who have yet to do this, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. What I did is I created 10 ways in which you can use innovative teamwork to create an opportunity, to create a more cohesive unit, to create a staff that's very, very motivated to do the work, things that you could be implementing right now in your business. And finally, Patreon. We are officially in 2025 and most of my exclusive content will be going to the members of the Patreon community. No matter where you are at financially, there is something that you can afford. We have a program that'll fit you the best. All right. So all that being said, let's get right into today's topic because there's a lot I have to discuss today. There's a lot we got to catch up on. It's been about a week. Since I last did a live stream. I last did a full episode. And there's been a lot that's happened this past week, and I'll be celebrating my birthday next week. So I'll get on to finish out the points, and then I'll also give my take on the college football playoffs, and then I'll probably be on like fully regularly on again starting the week from. Let me check my calendar real quick. Yeah, a week from Monday, starting the 13th, I'll probably start going 5 days a week, full scale, and, getting this thing in because I love doing these. I started doing these live streams later on in the latter parts of 2024. And it's just been a blast. It's been way better than the way I previously recorded my podcast. I love doing this, saves time, and I'm able to get a whole lot more done throughout the day. All right. So, as far as today's topic, as you can hear, my voice is now starting to get back. Right. It's funny because I recorded a podcast yesterday and the guest was, she was brand new. She was new to me, new to my world, new to the whole Move Swiftly brand and all that. And I was like struggling getting the words out. We still record a great episode. But if you don't know, the reason that my voice is the way it is, or I'm now getting my voice back, is because for the past, 72 plus hours, I have traveled all over Florida. Right? It started on Christmas Day when I decided, so I'll just run you through the whole weekend or the whole winter break, and then we'll get into some of the top moments of 2024, right? So it was during Christmas, and I was in Miami. I was visiting my aunt in Miami, and I myself, if you don't know, I'm a huge Michigan football fan. And I had already planned to go to the Reliquis Bowl. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. And, we're playing Alabama in Tampa. So I thought I bought my tickets. It turned out I didn't actually buy the tickets. I didn't find out till I actually got to the game that I actually bought the parking passes. And I had to go buy tickets like right there on game day. Good thing it wasn't like a huge bowl, so I really would have been mad. But I had to spend an extra $100 to actually buy the ticket to get in the game. But I'll get to that in a second. And anyway, so let me just run you through the whole thing, and then we'll get into the moments of 2024 because they all kind of coincide, and it's crazy just how full circle this entire year has been. How it's taken me full circle. How 2024 was like literally going full circle in terms of where my mindset is, how I adjusted, all of this stuff. So, it's Christmas of 2025, right? December 25th, when I'm prepping for a trip to Tampa for the Reliquis Bowl and trying to get my plans situated, what I'm going to be doing. And I saw that, they had activities going into the bowl game that started that Saturday. So started that Sunday, right? Started that Sunday. And I see they have like beach day that Sunday, and then they had a parade the Monday, and then the game was going to actually be played on Tuesday, the 31st. So I had initially planned on just driving from Miami to Tampa to take part of the bowl festivities from Sunday, Monday, and then watch the game Tuesday. But as I was at my aunt's house in Miami, and I was, looking through the bowl schedule, and I realized that there was a game. Well, I knew that Miami was playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl in Orlando, but I never actually planned on going. But when I kind of sat back and watched, I realized, it's a lot easier to drive. Like, why not? Didn't have much planned to do that Saturday. So I said, why not? Let me see how much the tickets are. Tickets were fairly affordable. So I just bought some tickets to go to the Pop-Tart Bowl just to experience it. Because, again, me as a football guy, I'm always willing to go and learn, always willing to be in that atmosphere. That atmosphere is something I actually live for. So I drive over to the Pop-Tart Bowl that Sunday or that Saturday morning. Yeah, that Saturday morning to catch the game. The game was at 3:00. The game was around 3:00, and I drive over to Orlando from Miami, and I catch the Pop-Tart Bowl. And that's when it all started. It's just an incredible atmosphere, even in a loss. And if you could recall, I did a video after it. I personally don't think that Cam Ward is right for sitting out. And not only do I don't think it's right, there's still no explanation. At least if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I've yet to hear him come out and actually say anything about the reason as to why he sat out the second half. And I don't, follow these guys on social media and all that kind of stuff. So maybe something did come out, but that was my take from the game. And being around the Hurricane fans and all that kind of stuff was great. Someone that resides out here in South Florida, I'm around a lot of Hurricane fans, and it's always great catching a game with them, especially seeing that I am a huge Ray Lewis fanatic. Like, he's one of those people that are untouchable in my world. Ray Lewis and Jay-Z are the two people that are untouchable in my world. So knowing that Ray Lewis came from the U, I'm always, even I'm a Michigan fan, I'm always kind of wanting to, or don't mind to see them do well and all that kind of stuff, right? So that was the Pop-Tart Bowl. So I immediately drove from Orlando. After that, drove right to St. Pete's Beach because it was like late. I sat in traffic, the Orlando, but listen, it was a nightmare when it comes to just getting out of the stadium. It took me forever. Like, the way, if you've ever been to Camping Ground Stadium, the way it's set up, between the parking around the stadium, that can be a headache. Every time I've actually gone to a game there, it has actually been a nightmare getting out because the traffic has been so crazy, and it's like right in the middle of the street and all that. So anyway, the next day I drive out to Clearwater Beach because the Relectus Bowl between Michigan and Alabama is having a beach day. And let me tell you, man, let me tell you, that was easily the greatest beach day that I have ever been a part of, man. And I live in Florida. I've been to several beach days, Beach Lime and thing like, I have a Caribbean background. So just having a beach day, that was a great time, man, because this is when I was first initially introduced to a fan base that I haven't had the pleasure of being around, because most of the time during my college years, I was, playing. I played for Stony Brook. I usually had things going on growing up during those weekends in the fall. So, I never had an opportunity to really experience what it's like being at a game, just being a fan and understanding the connection between family members and their college students. So we're at the beach day, and it started. I remember actually driving to the beach and seeing the band perform at a local high school as I was on my way to Clearwater. And I get there, and I see the band warming up as we're at the beach. And then, I believe there's some lightning that starts to strike. There was some rain. Again, we're in Florida, so it could be a beautiful day out 1 minute, and then 2 minutes later, it's pouring down. So the band was ready to perform. The cheerleaders were out. The band was ready to perform. And then I'm assuming they saw some lightning, and then the band had to walk away a little bit. They had to put the tubas away and put all their equipment away because they saw some lightning. And obviously, that's very dangerous. So, they gave it a couple minutes. The band that was performing already, they did a few numbers, and then the Michigan band finally came out, and that's where I was hearing "Hail to the hail to the they just kept playing it, and this is when I got an opportunity to connect with not only the alumni, but the parents of these band members, and that was one of the most rewarding things. Because I myself, as a teacher, as a educator now, I teach at a school named the Center for Creative Education. And when it comes to being an artist, when it comes to teaching young people about how to be more than just athletes, the things that you can be doing to express yourself in art and music and, all the things that are possible for you, I saw how that opened doors for them. I remember actually chatting with a mother who was saying that, look, I believe it was either the son or the daughter was pre-med. They're a member of the band, and they're also, attempting to go to the medical school, and they're balancing that and stuff like that. So, those were some of the takeaways. And the way that day ended, and I have this all written, by the way. It's an article on my Medium account, so make sure you go check it out. I remember just like that, the kind of final moment of that day was a conversation that I had with this couple that were now Facebook friends. And they were telling me how last year they tried to get into the national championship game in Houston when Michigan played in the national championship game in Houston. And they were literally, this is what they tell me, again, total strangers at this point. They told me they were literally willing to spend everything they had. And they tried every account they had to get into that game, but they still couldn't do it. And they obviously, again, they still enjoyed it. And it was great because that was my initial introduction to the fan base that I've grown to become this obsessed Michigan football fan, right? Now, the next day, there was a parade in Ybor City. All right, there was a battle of the bands. You had Alabama's marching band that they called the $1 Million Band, and then you have Michigan's band, and they were just battling it out, doing songs. And there's a parade where before they started, you had local high school bands doing their thing. And I got there early, and I found this like perfect spot up at a sports bar right on top of the stage. So I saw the whole thing, and I'm chatting with I'm not just chatting with Michigan fans. There was actually a family that I met who were like split in between because they had, Michigan on one side, and then there was some that was Ohio State fans because that was, the way I guess that their parents had met in Michigan, Ohio, and one decided that they were a Michigan fan, the other decided that they were Ohio State fan, and then I started chatting with there was another couple. I think he was with his daughter, but he was like big, huge Alabama fan, like generational Alabama fan. And we ended up chatting because, again, I'm a fan of the sport. I watched the sport, and he and I started chatting about all the great teams that they had all the way back to Julio Jones and back with Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. And, we just started chatting ball. And, as I remember being in that moment, guys, and this is something that's important for you guys to learn is, one of the things that I learned that my mother would always tell me growing up is she would always tell me, son, never be afraid to go take trips by yourself. Never be afraid to go and experience certain things by yourself. Like, you don't have to be with somebody to go and experience life. And that was like, this was like hours before the actual kickoff of the game. And I remember having it felt like my mother was there in spirit because she would always tell me these things growing up. She would say, never be afraid to go experience life on your own. And for me, those words turned out to be very prophetic because these were conversations that I was having with total strangers. I went on a solo trip to this game, and these were conversations that I was having with total strangers, yet we were talking as if we knew each other for years because the subject matter was what? The subject matter was Michigan football, Alabama football, SEC football, the historic nature of the game, how the game provides a sense of structure, how the game provides a sense of family, how the game provides a level of just being productive in your own life, something to really build a family on. And that's exactly how I grew up. So when it comes to you, and especially as we are in the beginning stages of this new year, I would challenge everybody out there to never be afraid to go and make trips and take a trip by yourself. Be solo. Just do it solo and come back with a renewed sense of energy, a renewed spirit, right? And that day in Ybor City, man, let me tell you, that's what I felt that day. And I knew it was an early game. The game started, the kickoff was at 12. And the kickoff was at 12. So I knew I had to get some rest because it was going to be a long Saturday. So after the parade, I went, got some food, and then it's game day. It's game day. It's New Year's Eve, and I woke up as if I was playing. Like, you would have thought, if you were around me, you would have thought that I was actually about to suit up and play this game. You would have thought like there was actually a locker ready for me and all that, because I was that in tune to the whole thing, right? So I'm going to briefly go over this. This is all available for you guys to read, by the way, but I do got to get to the moments. But this moment, this game that I went to was going to lead into actually moment number one. So it's where I'm in Tampa, and then I put on my new Michigan shirt, I deck out Michigan gear. After I do my run, I record my video, and I briefly go over the top 5 moments, or the top 10 or so moments that I'm going to be going over today and on Monday. And then I immediately drive over to the stadium around, let's say 8:30, because I had signed up to be a part of the alumni tailgate that Michigan had, and that started at 9. And because of what I had just experienced with the parking and in Orlando the previous day, I'm like, look, I don't want to deal with any parking situations. I don't want any of those problems at all. So I get there early and everything is running smoothly. So I get there, the lady lets me park without paying anything because she knows I'm there early for the tailgate and all that. I get into the tailgate. Man, listen, man, I get into the alumni tailgate. I link up, man, the links and the conversations and just the meeting people, like that alumni network. Oh, 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 man. Listen, I was in my glory. Or I was in my glory because not only that, they had unlimited breakfast, unlimited food. Now I've stopped, I've slowed down, I've stopped drinking per se. I'll do a beer here and there, but if I was drinking, it would have been great because they had open bar where you could have your drinks and do whatever, do your thing and all that kind of stuff. So I get there, I get fed and we eat and I'm connecting, networking, kind of meeting some of the alumni, meeting the people that support Michigan football or is as obsessed with the Michigan football program as I am. And then I see Ward Manuel. Ward Manuel is the athletic director at Michigan, also on the college football committee. You may have heard his name. We may have seen him on TV. He was one of the people that were responsible for picking the 12 college football teams. And I remember shaking his hand and just telling him, look, man, I don't care what anybody says. You guys did a great job picking the 12 teams, as you can see, right? Because this college football playoffs has been really, really unpredictable. But that's another conversation for another day, right? So he gives a speech. He gives a great speech, and then the president of the actual university gives a speech, and then again the band performs. And at that point, I'm completely ready to roll. I'm in game mode. I'm in game mode. I'm like, I don't even want to talk to nobody no more. Let's kick the damn ball off right now. So I leave the tailgate and I go right into the stadium. Or at least I plan on going right into the stadium and say, let's go. Let's get this thing. Like my mindset is, I treated that Saturday as if I was actually playing in the game, right? So I get to the gate. I get to the damn gate of Raymond James Stadium, and I'm showing them my little pass thing. If you've ever been to a game, you have to actually pull the thing up on your app. You show them the barcode or whatever, and then you go in. Now I'm showing them the thing, and it's not working for some reason. I'm like, yo, because I'm going through all my emails and I'm looking through my receipts. I'm like, yo, I paid for something, and I'm thinking that it's the actual ticket, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It was actually the parking that I paid for, and I never actually bought a ticket. So if this game that I'm so hyped up to be at, had it been a sold out game, had it been a huge bowl, I wouldn't have gotten in because I only paid for the parking. But luckily, it wasn't a huge bowl game. And I was able to just buy the tickets right there on the spot. I had to spend an extra $100 to buy the actual ticket so I can actually get into the game. I believe, I don't know where the seats were that I bought, but again, this wasn't a huge bowl game. So I knew I was going to be I normally during Michigan games, I don't sit down as it is. So I was like, look, it's perfect. I'll pay for whatever it is. And then I went to the game and I found the perfect spot to stand. And if you've ever been to Raymond James Stadium, they have that place like right on top of the first section where you can stand and watch the ball, and there's bars there where you can just hang. It's a really, really great vibe at Raymond James Stadium, right? So found that on the Michigan All right, my apologies. Yeah, where I'm at, the Wi-Fi actually we lost a little bit of Wi-Fi there. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, so I'm there and I'm behind the Michigan end zone, and I'm around obviously Michigan people, and I wasn't gonna be around the Crimson Tide and Alabama folks. They just weren't wasn't messing with them on these next 3 hours. I was locked in. Where I'm at, the Wi-Fi actually we lost a little bit of Wi-Fi there, but anyway. Yeah, like I was saying, so I was locked in, right? So the game starts. All right, the game starts, and maybe we got 6 minutes in, maybe 5 or 6 minutes into the game. Florida does what Florida does, and it starts raining, like pouring rain. And this is my team. I'm getting to see my team in the state that I currently live in. If you thought that some rain was going to make it so I move and go find shelter, you out of your damn mind. I stood there and just got so drenched. And luckily I did, because I got a feel, and I thought of all of my Midwestern guys, my guys that I've played with that are from the Ohio, Detroit area, the Indiana area, that Midwestern blue collar mentality. Because as soon as it started raining, and if you ever been to Florida, you guys know it comes out heavy. But as soon as it started raining, the entire Michigan bench, the entire stadium, everyone just starts getting pumped. And it's like, yeah. You saw Sharon Moore, the head coach, being pumped up. It was a great atmosphere when the rain really started pouring, right? And then we caused, I want to say, like 3 turnovers, and unfortunately we didn't capitalize on the turnovers with touchdowns, but we caused like 3 turnovers and we took an early lead. And then the way the game was played, if you recall in the video, I kind of briefly touched on this on a video that I did when I got back to Palm Beach. But the game was played really close. It was a defensive struggle. I call those games double chin strap fist fights. That's the way the game was actually played, and it took a goal line stance for us to actually beat them and finally win. But when we won, boy, let me tell you, when we won, again, my voice is hoarse. I barely made it through. And we won, watched the trophy presentation, and the future is bright. The future is bright when it comes to the Michigan Wolverines football program. So that's pretty much the experience I had in a nutshell. I don't have too much time to dive deeper into it right now, because if I start talking about it too much, I'm going to keep going on and on and on and on. But the full recap is available. It's an article that I have on my Medium account, and also it is available on a YouTube video in which I recap it a little bit. But I wanted to make sure I gave you guys sort of the recap of the way the experience I had, and also emphasize the importance of being willing to go and take trips on your own and experience certain things for yourself, like my mother taught me very, very early on in life. It truly is a refreshing experience. So as far as today, what we're going to talk about is 1 through 5. Now, I have, if you could recall, New Year's Eve, the post that I put out on New Year's Eve was my top 10 moments of 2024. I don't have time to go through all 10 in one sitting. I don't have the ability to go through one thing, unless I don't want this show to be over 2 hours, right? I'd like to keep this particular show somewhere around the 45 minutes to an hour range. So as far as how I'm going to do it, I'm going to go 1 through 5 today, and then I'll go 6 through 10 on Monday. Number 1, it's going to stay right there when it comes to Michigan football. All right, we're going to stay right there. But it was the 2023 version of Michigan football Wolverines. And this moment for me absolutely signified, it was incredible. It was incredible. All right, to give you some context here, I want to give you some context, because the year prior, 2020, it was early 2023. When I was on a boat. All right, I'm on a cruise. I went from Miami to the Bahamas, and it was my birthday, January 8th, where I must have had maybe close to 20 to 30 Bahama mamas just kicking them back. Because I'm in the Bahamas, I was spending my birthday in the Bahamas. I got to go to it was the Grand Mara, that that hotel, and it would actually turn out to be a Sunday, and I wanted a Bahama Mama on the boat, and in the hotel an authentic Bahama Mama, and I'm just kicking them back, left, right, and it was in that moment where I decided that I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to drink alcohol anymore. At least I want to go a year being sober, because at this point I'm in my mid-30s, and it's just more that I'm not in college no more. I want to grow out of this drinking habit, or, and not only that, but me being raised in a Caribbean household, social drinking is the norm. It's normal to have a beer, have a little liquor with this and do all that. That's kind of the norm. You grow up around it. So I just wanted to challenge myself to see if I can do it. So a whole year went by in which I did not have one sip of alcohol. And it just so happened that Michigan was playing their national championship on my birthday, January 8th. And I was telling people, because I was on the boat, it was 4 days on the boat. So the first 2 days, I didn't have any drink. I didn't drink. I wanted to keep my streak alive because Michigan is going undefeated. We're winning, and it'll be my birthday. And hopefully, if I hold out long enough, we're going to win this game, and then I'll have some champagne. So they finally sealed it. We beat Washington. We go and win the national championship, and then the champagne just starts flowing. That is how I started off my 2024. All right. So that moment, easily number one. It started off excellent. Finally, and I'm one of those fans that lived through the App State loss, 8 years of getting our ass kicked at Ohio State at the hands of Ohio State. Talking ass kicking the same way Ohio State put that belt to ass to Oregon is the same way Ohio State used to tap up onto Michigan ass. And I lived through 8 years of that shit. So when we finally won a national championship on my birthday after a whole year being sober, my birthday's coming up in a couple of days here, but it's going to be hard to top that moment. It was an absolutely incredible moment. And the icing on the cake, kind of the cherry on top, was the fact that I'm on a boat that with so many other Michigan fans. There were actual other Michigan fans. There was one individual who played at Michigan, who was a kicker. He was honored on the field. I looked him up. He was honored, and he was a part of it. And by the time Mikey Sainristil caught that interception to seal it off, tears. He's bawling, crying when you see those wing helmets and you see the maize and blue, and we held up that national championship trophy. And I'm a year older. You don't get any better than that, man. It was incredible. So that's moment number one. All right. The next moment was actually, hold on, let me make sure we're good. Was when I actually got back on land. All right. I'm back on land, and I'm back on Florida. I'm back in Florida in Palm Beach. And it might have happened, I want to say maybe about a month after. Somewhere around a month after, 2 months. I can't remember the specific date, but I'm a runner. I'm a runner, and the goal actually was to last year was the goal to actually get back to doing a marathon. But life got in the way. I had to do a lot of 5Ks and 10Ks and all that. But I still run every morning, right? And it would happen to be a long run day in which I wanted to run a half marathon. So. Half marathon, by the way, is 13.1 miles. So it was one of my morning runs, which I do every single day. It's documented. It's on YouTube. You guys can go look it up if you would like to. But it was one of those runs where it was dark, really, really dark. It's February time, so it's winter. It's dark later or whatever. And again, the hours for me, I'm up early in the morning when the sun isn't even out. So I'm taking a run, and I told this story actually when it happened. You could see it, in live, and in full when I actually recorded. But I'm taking a run, and I don't see, because it's so dark, I don't see the curve, right? I don't see how the curve is. And when you're running, any runner can really can resonate when I say this. When you're running, sometimes you'll get on this runner's high. You're just moving now. You're feeling good. You out there just getting it. And I'm thinking, because I'm doing one of my long run days, I might have been mile 7, and I'm not even winded. I'm just like rolling. I'm like, all right, let's go. This is my day today. I might mess around and knock out 20 miles today, because I had that feeling. And then out of nowhere, boom, I trip on the curve, and my face is bloody and my lip is swollen. I mean, it looks horrible. And I stand there, I stay there for a second, because I know what it is I do, right? I know that I give a promise, I give a guarantee every single day to say a daily Move Swiftly thought. And at this moment, it's just me and my conscience, and really asking myself, how bad do I really want this thing? How bad do I want to be notable? How bad exactly do I specifically believe in the work I'm doing? How much do I really want this thing? And so it's almost like after one of the losses, one of the Colorado losses, Coach Prime, he gave a speech. He said, he told the players, do y'all just like this thing? Are y'all in like with this thing? Are you in love? Are you in love with this thing? So I'm on the ground. Nobody, like, it's early in the morning. I'm on the ground, face bloody. I'm at mile 7. And I have to ask myself at that particular time, how much do you want to run a marathon? How bad do you want it? I get my ass back up and I finish my 13.1 miles. So I've run the full marathon, and then I record the video. Again, this is all documented stuff that you can go look at yourself. But and again, I'm just running you through the moments of 2024. That moment when I was willing to go on camera looking like a damn fool with my lip busted, my lip swollen, and knowing for a fact that I was going to take a lot of jokes. Again, I'm a former football player. There's teammates that still keep up with me on social media. I know I was about to get it. I was about to get it, dog. So it's like, look, hey man, if you're gonna be in the content creation game, you gotta record when your face looks like that. So bang, hit the record button, and I gave my normal daily Move Swiftly thought. I gave my normal thoughts, and basically turned it into a positive and all that. And the next days that ensued, again, it took maybe a couple weeks for this. Yeah, it wasn't March. I think it was around March. It was, I think, because I remember there was a St. Patty's Day run that I did. But it took a couple days for the swelling to go down and everything to heal and all that. So I still had to record the video with my face looking all busted up. And I remember some of the comments I was getting during that time. It's like, man, go fix your busted ass lip and all that. But again, that's what I tell a lot of people now when they try to, say they're going to be in the content creation game. If they're going to be really about it, are you willing to do it when you aren't looking at your best and all that kind of stuff? So that was moment number 2. As far as moment number 3, you got to fast forward. I got to fast forward all the way to, I think it was August. When I went to a family reunion on my father's side, and a family reunion not only on my father's side, but the aunt. They only saw the only family that I have out here in South Florida. I have an aunt that lives in Miami, and this particular aunt is incredibly instrumental when it comes to putting together these family reunions. Like, she's been doing this for years. She's put her heart and soul. And in fact, even when we're just to kind of illustrate how put together, how instrumental she is and how involved she actually is when it comes to putting these family reunions together. It was the past 2 family reunions in which my aunt, and she doesn't like, she's not like the social media type, so I won't put her name out there, but she got a standing ovation in both of these family reunions. So the one that was in Tobago 4 years ago, and then the one that we just had in Trinidad and Togo, she got a standing ovation in terms of all the efforts, everything that she did. I mean, I remember several of the people who have worked with her on the committee, they said, we got to give this lady a hand for, putting all the research together and organizing the plans and getting the t-shirts made and, getting the rooms right and, reaching out to this Crookshank and reaching out to that Crookshank. all of the things. And, again, there's 2 family reunions in a row in which my aunt has gotten a standing ovation for all of her efforts. So I'll give her a hand clap on this one, right? So anyway, in terms of moment number 3 that really, really touched my heart throughout 2024, it was being in that family reunion. It really was, because it wasn't just about her. It wasn't just about her. I got an opportunity to, all right, so I'll walk you through the trip a little bit, because I had a connecting flight. I went from Florida to Panama City. So I land in Panama City, and as I'm waiting for the trip from Panama to Trinidad, there I see my niece, my nephew, and my sister walking out, and we're actually on the same flight. And it's like crazy to me, because I know these 2 as babies, and I'm looking at my nephew, who's damn near taller than me now, like looking like the athlete. He's going to be a player. And I see my niece being her 15-year-old, so like literally being my sister, and I'm like. And again, we're on our way to a family reunion. And these are the things that happen when you really look at family reunions. Like the same way my uncles looked at me as I was growing up in my teen years, I'm now looking at them like, dog, what the hell? My baby niece and my baby nephew are like grown. They are grown teenagers, full-blown teenagers right now. Right. So I see them in the airport. And, me, my sister, and them 2, we end up on the same plane to get to Trinidad, right? So that trip to Trinidad in its totality is, again, that's documented. I wrote an article on it. I don't have time to give you the full trip, but it is available for you to read. I believe the title of the article is A Family Reunion. Just look up As One Crookshank Family Reunion, and you'll see the article I wrote on it. But as we got to the main day of the event, I remember my aunt was asking me before the family reunion. She goes, yeah, you do stuff with kids, right? You know how to like create activities with kids and all that. I'm like, well, do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who your nephew is? So, I'm always willing. Every time anybody wants to give me like an opportunity to be a public speaker or anything like that, I know exactly what it is I need to be doing, right? So when my aunt, when it was time to set up the activities for the kids at this, I believe they called it a fun day. It was right before the ceremony. We went to like the hall of the ceremony or whatever, and we're trying to organize activities, and after we're doing it, everyone's asking, they're like, yo, who's gonna be the speaker? Like, are you gonna be the speaker? I'm like, come on, man, man, this is what I do. I know exactly what it is I do. So I grabbed the mic, and I'm putting the kids through all these little activities, and I'm getting the crowd hype. And not only that, but my mother, who's not even a crookshank, I mean, she's married into being a crookshank. My mother was actually out there helping with the food and cooking and all that, and we were there to help out. So it was a great moment for me to be around family and know how we've grown. Again, it started as seeing my niece and nephew look grown, and then a couple days later, I'm having the mic, doing what I'm passionate about, and doing the activities and all that. And then later on that afternoon, when we had the dinner, I got the opportunity to actually MC the entire event. I MC'd it, and I'm giving my speech. Again, I'm a natural public speaker. At least it looks like I'm natural because I've been doing it for so long. But I was able to do that in front of the 2 people that raised me, my mother and my father, again, and they've seen a very shy, reserved As One Crookshank grow into his 30s, and now he's emceeing an entire event for the family stuff, and the countless events that me, my sister, and my mother and father have been to. For me to actually be emceeing one with them there, plus my niece and nephew, come on, man. You just don't get better than that. You just do not get better than that. I mean, that moment for me, it was absolutely incredible. Plus my aunt there, who helped organize the event, and it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And that's number 3. That's number 3. Again, you can go read about it. I have the article written that you can go read about. As far as number 4, we're going over the top 10 moments of 2024, 1 through 5. As far as number 4 is concerned, Number 4 came about, I'll say, that later that month, because that happened early August. And then later that month, August 31st, was a date that I had circled on my calendar that year, because it was the day. Oh, man. It was the day that my alma mater, the Good Counsel Good Counsel Falcons, were going to be traveling from Albany, Maryland to Miami, Florida to play a football game, folks. I'm going to say it again. Let it sink in for a little bit. A football program from Maryland, Good Counsel, my high school, the alma mater, where I learned, where I became him, where I found life, the football program that gave me the identity, that gave me that, like, okay, we got Jelani, we got Akeem, we got who else? We had Caleb Porzel. We had dudes, man, dudes, Division I NFL dudes. The program that gave me my like light into what competition's really about is coming to Miami, bro, and play a football game, not a basketball game. We're about to play a football game in Miami. So I had that date circled from the moment that the schedule came out, and I'm like, yo, I don't care what's going on. I'm gonna be there. I'm being there, because I remember actually, because it was a month before when I was at the family reunion in Trinidad and my aunt's in Miami. I was telling her, look, August 31st, I'm gonna be, just believe, trust and believe, I will be in Miami for that game. You a Friday night too? What? Oh, come on, man, come on. So I get there, and luckily, I don't say luckily, but fortunately, and indicative of the program, why the program has been so successful this year, there were coaches that coached me that were still a part of the program, guys. There were coaches who knew exactly who I was as one former linebacker, all that kind of stuff, knew everything, didn't forget anything. And this is how you build something special, all right? This is the important, and I might get on a tangent here, but it's important for you guys to listen to this as we're now in the off season and you're thinking about how you're going to build a solid program. Look at the Good Counsel Falcons. Understand that these were men. And trust and believe, and I've been the first one to admit this. I admitted this 10 years ago when I lived in Maryland. The players that play at Good Counsel now, I wouldn't have even started. Like, they're so much better than I was, or a lot of the players that I was around. They are incredible athletes. We have gotten so much better. I wouldn't have been good enough to play there now. I don't have a problem admitting that. But the foundation and the structure of the program can be seen when you have guys who coached me 10 years ago, who are still part of the program and still remembered who I was, all that kind of stuff. And that was incredible. I mean, man, I was like, just like I was telling you earlier when I was at the Michigan game, I wanted to put my pads on. This time I literally was like, yo, if you have some extra shoulder pads, I'm putting them on. Like, I was that into the game, right? I was that ready to play. So I get there early to see the warm-ups and meet up with a lot of old faces, a lot of old coaches, some of my teammates that are coaching now at Good Counsel and all that. And I had the opportunity to actually address these young men before a huge game. And I'll tell you right now, I don't even know what I said. I honestly, when I had the opportunity, Coach Dickerson, shout out to Coach Dickerson, who gave me the opportunity, introduced me to the guys and was letting them know, I'm an alumni that live in South Florida and all that. And the minute he gave me the where, again, this was just like in the family, you give me a microphone, you give me an opportunity to speak, I don't know what's going to come out. But when I'm around my former self, like my actual high school where I played, you see the navy and gold, you see that Good Counsel on their chest, you see that hunger in their eyes. I don't even know what I said. I just know it was motivating, obviously, because they won the game. So, that moment from me giving a speech to them actually winning a football game in Miami, a school from Maryland winning a football game in Miami. I mean, you guys got to understand, like, you got to let that sink in. You really have to let that sink in, folks. A football school, a school in Miami, a football team from Maryland beating a school in Miami in football. Let it sink in for a little bit. Let it sink in because it's like, and I had the opportunity to address them before that. Now, granted, the team they played, Columbus, wasn't, they're not St. Thomas Aquinas this year. I get it. I know I already hear you South Florida guys in the chat. I have to hear about it every time we talk football. I get that they're not the damn Northwestern Bulls. They weren't being coached by Teddy Bridgewater and all that. But understand, coming from where we're from, having a football team win a game, a high school football team beat a high school football team in Miami, it's a huge morale booster for the program. When I played there, we were excited to play a team named Robinson. I'll just kind of close you out with the concept. We were excited to play a team named the Robinson Rams in Northern Virginia because they had one player. His name was Lucas Caprelli, who ended up playing for Wake Forest. And this was like a big deal when we actually and we lost them the first time, and then we came back my senior year and beat the Robinson Rams at Robinson. When we beat a team from Northern Virginia, that was like a big deal. Okay, 10 years later, we're beating a team in Miami, the mecca of high school football, right? So that's why that moment for me, it had to go on this list. You already know that it had to go on this list. All right. So as I close you out, the final one that we're going to talk about today, it was actually when I was here. Right now, I teach at this school named the Center for Creative Education, and it's myself and there's another colleague I have. Her name, shout out to Shay. But she and I are both very much in the content creation game, very much in the game of putting out information specifically for business owners and putting out information or services and material, offering coaching for people that want to have a more efficient staff or want to build their business and all that kind of stuff. Very much in the self-development and professional development space. So it just so happened to be one of the times I don't know why I did this. There was something that came up. There was an idea that I had to record a video, whatever it was. Something hit me in my head. It might have been something one of these administrators said that made me say, you know what, let me look myself up, because I don't know what it was. There's a lot of stuff that goes on because, again, the name of the school is the Center for Creative Education. So when you're at a school with that kind of name, your creative juices are like flowing 8 hours a day. And then you got to deal with kids, and you really got to get creative, especially if you're working with kids, right? So I just Googled my name for whatever reason, and I realized it says as one Crookshank public figure. It's listed as a public figure. Don't ask me how I did this. Don't ask me how it happened. And I remember showing Shay, I'm like, yo, your boy's a public figure now, man. You Google me, if public figure is going to show up. And then she asked me, and this is where I want to get you, because she asked me, she goes, how did that happen? And I'm like, man, I have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea how it happened. And I'm going to close you guys out just by that principle a little bit. The moment was very rewarding because I never got into this business. I never decided to start recording videos regularly. I never decided to start writing books regularly and putting out articles regularly. I never did any of that so I could be listed as a public figure when people look me up. That's not at all why any of this started. It started because my experiences as a player, my experiences in the football world turned out to be something that's very valuable for business owners, the people that I want to serve. So if you continue to just focus on your purpose, then these things start making sense and all of these great things start happening for you. So I'll close you guys out just with that concept. Today, we just walk you through my top 5 moments of 2024, 1 through 5. I don't have time to go all 10. I'll go 6 through 10 on Monday. But as far as the top 5 moments of 2024, number 1, it was when Michigan won the championship on my birthday. Number 2 was when I took a nasty fall during one of my long run days and finished the run. Number 3 was I was at a family reunion in Trinidad. Shout out to my aunt and organizing the family reunion and seeing family members, me emceeing that event. And number 4 was seeing my alma mater, the Good Counsel Falcons, win a football game, folks. A football game in Miami. A Maryland high school football team comes to Miami and wins a football game. I had the opportunity to speak to the boys before. And number 5 listed, as you look up the name As One Crookshank on your phone right now, it's going to say public figure. Again, something that I never actually planned on doing, but it happened because of the commitment that I have to put out the content every single day and serve the people that I want to serve. And that's really all it's about. And if I'm to leave you guys with a lesson, it's just focus on that. Focus on the people that you want to serve every day, and you'll figure out exactly what it is you need to be doing to get in front of them every single day and make yourself known in that world. So all that being said, again, do not forget main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work. It's makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. Also, don't forget to tap in with me on the Patreon link. It's Patreon. Let me move this here real quick so you guys can see it. Patreon.com/as144. We have preseason, regular season, and postseason, something that's for everyone. Everyone out there, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.